Number 11. The beauty that reached the world stage. Albania combines the dramatic beauty of the Balkans with the climate and cultural influence of the Mediterranean. Even its national flag, featuring a double-headed eagle, has come to symbolize a country that has long stood between two worlds. Once described by some media outlets as the North Korea of Europe, because of decades of isolation under a dictatorship, Albania often surprises visitors the moment they arrive in Tirana. Instead of a closed and gloomy country, they discover a youthful, open, and energetic nation filled with people whose striking appearance is hard to ignore. The beauty of Albanian women seems to reflect the two contrasting sides of their homeland, the strong, sharp character of the Balkan Mountains and the elegant, sunlit charm of the Mediterranean. They often stand out for their well-defined facial features, with high cheekbones, refined noses, and sharply contoured jawlines. It is not a soft or delicate kind of beauty, but one with depth, character, and an almost cinematic quality. Their eyes are perhaps the most unforgettable feature. Framed by thick lashes, they come in a wide range of colors, from hazel and deep brown to green or blue. Their hair is often thick and glossy, most commonly in dark brown, chocolate, or jet black shades. The Mediterranean climate and a lifestyle closely connected to nature also contribute to healthy-looking skin and a vibrant appearance. Albanian women are often tall, well-proportioned, and strong. They carry themselves with grace without appearing fragile. Much like their homeland itself, a country shaped by centuries of upheaval, yet still deeply rooted in its own identity. However, their appeal goes far beyond physical appearance. Behind that striking exterior is often a deep sense of warmth, hospitality, and a powerful devotion to family. Once someone is considered part of the family, they are often treated with remarkable care and loyalty. Within the household, women are often seen as the quiet center that keeps everything in balance. Albanians have a well-known saying, "A woman holds up three corners of the house." The phrase reflects the important role women play in raising children, connecting generations, and preserving close family bonds. While many parts of Europe are becoming increasingly individualistic, Albanian homes are still often filled with relatives, lively conversation, and a place at the table for guests. For generations, women have played a major role in keeping that atmosphere alive. They represent not only the beauty of Albania, but also much of the strength, warmth, and identity that define the country. What do you find most attractive about Albanian women, their physical beauty, or the strength of their character? Share your city and country in the comments below. Who knows? A cross-border romance might just be waiting for you in this corner of the Balkans. Number 10. Shiro, Record Coffee, and the Kingdom of Mercedes. If you want to understand the rhythm of life in Albania, start with a cup of coffee. This small country is often said to have one of the highest concentrations of cafes in the world. In 2016, Albania even surpassed Spain, with around 654 cafes for every 100,000 people. But here, coffee is more than just a drink. It is a reason for people to sit together, exchange news, talk about family, or simply watch the world go by. An espresso may take only a few minutes to drink, but the conversation around it can easily last for hours. As the sun begins to set, that social rhythm moves out of the cafes and into the streets. This is when Shiro begins, an evening stroll that has become something close to a national ritual. From young children and teenagers to grandparents, people step out onto familiar boulevards together. They walk slowly, greet neighbors, chat with friends, and catch up on the latest stories of the day. Shiro does not necessarily have a destination. What matters is being out, seeing others, and feeling like part of the community. Yet among the crowds strolling through the streets, you will notice another symbol almost everywhere: Mercedes-Benz cars. This is especially striking because there was once a time when ordinary Albanians were virtually forbidden from owning private cars. That restriction did not fully disappear until around 1991. After decades of limited mobility, cars quickly became symbols of freedom, success, and social status. Today, around 30% of registered cars in Albania are said to be Mercedes-Benz, one of the highest shares in the world. From aging models that have been on the road for decades to gleaming new luxury vehicles, the three-pointed star can be seen on streets across the country. Some young people are even willing to rent luxury cars for the weekend, simply to make a stronger impression on their friends. A country where people once had little freedom to drive has now developed such a passion for German automotive engineering that some visitors jokingly call Albania the Kingdom of Mercedes. However, if you want to travel like a local, you do not necessarily need to sit behind the wheel of a luxury car. Just stand by the roadside and wave down a furgon, a type of minivan that serves as one of Albania's most informal forms of public transportation. Each one usually carries around 8 to 15 passengers, but there is often no fixed timetable. A furgon may wait for quite a while if there are still empty seats, then leave as soon as enough passengers have boarded. There is no need to buy a ticket in advance, use an app, make a reservation, or even find a clearly marked stop. Passengers simply get in, find a seat, and pay the driver directly in cash. Number 9. 173,000 bunkers. Those concrete domes scattered along the roadside are not wells or abandoned structures. They are bunkers, remnants of one of the strangest chapters in Albania's history. By 1983, around 173,371 concrete bunkers had been built across the country, roughly 15 bunkers per square mile. They appeared almost everywhere, along the beaches of the Albanian Riviera, high in the mountains, in private gardens, beside roads, and even in schoolyards. Each bunker reportedly cost about as much as a two-room apartment, and building just 20 of them could consume the same budget as constructing roughly 0.6 miles road in what was then one of Europe's poorest countries. The bunker program also came at a human cost. According to documented accounts, an estimated 70 to 100 workers died each year during construction. As a result, these thousands of concrete domes came to represent not only the fear of war, but also a difficult chapter in the lives of ordinary Albanians. Today, rather than erase that past completely, Albanians have found ways to give many of these structures a new purpose. Some bunkers have been transformed into cafes, guest houses, storage spaces, animal shelters, and even tattoo studios. The most remarkable example is the 5-story nuclear bunker beneath Tirana, originally built to protect the country's leadership in the event of war. Today, it has been transformed into Bunk Art, a museum where history and art now fill corridors once designed for bombs and survival. That is how Albania confronts its past without hiding it, but without allowing it to completely define the country's future. Number 8. Customs that confuse the world. In some parts of Albania, especially in the south and among older generations, a nod can sometimes mean no, while a shake of the head may be understood as yes. This small difference in body language has caused more than a few travelers to order the wrong dish, board the wrong vehicle, or accidentally agree to something they meant to refuse. So, the first lesson when visiting Albania is simple. Do not rely on head gestures alone. Listen to the spoken answer before making a decision. The second lesson often comes in a small glass. Raki is a traditional spirit that many families make at home from grapes or other fruits. But for Albanians, it is more than just a drink. It is almost like a handshake in liquid form, a symbol of welcome, friendship, and the host's hospitality. And as you drive past houses still under construction, you may come across an even stranger sight: teddy bears, Spider-Man dolls, or scarecrow-like figures hanging from the scaffolding. These figures are not forgotten toys. According to a traditional belief, they are placed there to protect the house from the evil eye or the jealous gaze of others. The idea is that the object outside will attract or absorb that envy, helping shield the family inside from bad luck. Small customs like these also appear in everyday life. After someone gets a haircut, friends may lightly tap the back of their neck and say a phrase that essentially means, "May it bring you good health." It is both a blessing for the new haircut and a casual sign of affection between people who know each other well. These customs may seem unusual to outsiders, but they reflect a society that still maintains a deep connection to tradition. Number 7. Besa, the oath that saved a people. Among Albania's ancient traditions, there is one principle that has existed not only in words, but was once proven through the courage and sacrifice of an entire community. That principle is known as Besa. The power of Besa became especially clear during the darkest years of World War II. Albania was one of the very few occupied countries in Europe to end the war, with more Jewish people living within its borders than before the conflict began. As persecution spread across the continent, many Albanian families, Muslim and Christian alike, opened their homes to protect those being hunted. They forged identity papers, gave Jewish refugees Albanian names, and introduced them to neighbors as members of the family. Some were hidden inside homes, while others were taken to remote mountain villages where occupying forces were far less likely to find them. Albanian forms its own independent branch of the Indo-European language family. It has no closely related surviving language, making it one of the most distinct linguistic branches in Europe. Most linguists believe Albanian may have developed from an ancient Paleo-Balkan language, often associated with Illyrian. However, because so little written evidence has survived, its exact origins have never been conclusively proven. That mystery has become part of Albania's national identity. Albanians do not call their country Albania. They call their homeland Shqiperia, often interpreted as the land of the eagles, and they refer to themselves as Shqiptaret. That image is most clearly displayed on the national flag, a black, double-headed eagle set against a red background. The symbol is closely associated with Skanderbeg, Albania's national hero, who raised the eagle banner during his resistance against the Ottoman Empire in the 15th century. The double-headed eagle looks in two directions, yet belongs to a single body. Perhaps no symbol better represents Albania, a country standing between east and west, between the high mountains of the Balkans and the Mediterranean coast, between ancient traditions and the ambition to move confidently into the modern world. Number 6. The real cost and the real safety. You may have heard that just $600 a month is enough to live comfortably in Albania, covering rent, food, and even nights out. But that picture is far too idealized. Many Albanians themselves say that figure does not reflect reality. According to cost of living databases referenced in the material, a single person needs around €520 per month for basic expenses, and that still does not include rent. So Albania is not a place where $600 can buy you everything. Even so, compared with many Western European countries, the cost of living remains relatively affordable. A one-bedroom apartment in central Tirana can cost around $320 to $460 per month. A meal at an inexpensive restaurant is often about $9, while a cup of espresso at a local cafe can sometimes cost less than $1. For visitors from Western Europe or North America, prices like these can make Albania feel like one of the most affordable destinations in Europe, but the picture looks very different when viewed through local incomes. The average monthly salary mentioned in the material is around $910. Starting in January 2026, the minimum wage was raised to 50,000 lek, or roughly $605 per month, an increase of about 25% from the previous level. That leads to an important reality. What feels cheap to a tourist does not necessarily feel cheap to an Albanian. That is why Albania is better described as an affordable destination, not a place where money suddenly loses its value. But beyond prices, travelers often ask another question: is Albania actually safe? The figure cited in the material suggests that, for the most part, the answer is yes. Albania's homicide rate is around 1 per 100,000 people, lower than France's 1.3, and far below the rate in the United States. Some user-based safety rankings also place Albania ahead of France, the United Kingdom, and Italy. That does not mean travelers should completely let their guard down. In crowded areas, tourist hotspots, and on public transportation, common risks such as pickpocketing and overcharging can still occur. Number 5. From the Maldives of Europe to the accursed mountains. Let's begin in Kasamal, where the Ionian Sea turns a brilliant shade of turquoise, earning the area the nickname the Maldives of Europe. Located about 9 miles south of Sarande, Kasamal looks directly across the water toward the Greek island of Corfu. Head inland, and Albania begins to feel like an open-air museum. There is Berat, the city of 1,000 windows, and Gjirokastër, the city of stone. Both are protected as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So is Butrint, where more than 2,500 years of Greek, Roman, and Byzantine history lie within a lush national park. Then the landscape rises dramatically into the Albanian Alps, also known as the Accursed Mountains. The hike from Valbona to Theth has become one of Albania's most famous mountain adventures. And all of this lies between two seas, with the Adriatic on one side and the Ionian on the other. Along the sun-drenched Albanian Riviera, the country's Mediterranean coastline meets a landscape that supports more than 3,250 species of plants, nearly one-third of all plant species found in Europe. Then, in March 2023, the Vijosa River became the centerpiece of Europe's first Wild River National Park. Around 168 miles of free-flowing river remain largely untouched by dams, creating a vast natural habitat for more than 1,100 animal species. It is, quite simply, a paradise shaped by water. But in 1967, the ruler of this seemingly beautiful country did something no other leader in modern history had attempted on such a scale. That year, Enver Hoxha declared Albania the world's first atheist state. By May, all 2,169 churches, mosques, monasteries, and other religious buildings across the country had been confiscated, sealed off, converted into warehouses and cultural centers, or destroyed entirely. The policy was written directly into the Constitution. Article 37 declared that the state recognized no religion. Its effects reached into nearly every part of daily life. Clergy members were persecuted and imprisoned. Owning religious books could become a criminal offense. Even giving a child the name of a saint could attract unwanted attention from the authorities. Why did Hoxha go so far? Because he viewed religion as a rival, another source of loyalty, competing with the absolute devotion he believed should belong only to the party. Hoxha drew on a famous 19th-century nationalist poem by Pashko Vasa, which declared that the religion of Albanians is Albanianism. He then turned that poetic metaphor into state policy. For 23 years, an entire nation could practice religion only behind closed doors if people dared to practice it at all. Then, in December 1990, the ban finally collapsed. Thousands of Albanians openly attended Christmas services once again, marking the first public celebrations for an entire generation. Number 4. The country of living microphones. Banning religion was only one part of Enver Hoxha's machinery of control. To keep watch over society, the regime also turned ordinary people into living microphones. The Sigurimi, Albania's secret police, built one of the most suffocating surveillance networks in Europe at the time. A family placed under suspicion could be secretly monitored in its daily life by anywhere from 3 to 50 people. It could be the neighbor always watching from the window, the coworker sitting beside you at work, or even the friend sharing coffee with you at a cafe. Declassified records show that more than 200,000 citizens were at one point involved in the regime's official informant network, even though Albania's population was still under 3 million. Surveillance did not come only from the police. It reached into neighborhoods, workplaces, and even the closest personal relationships. Writer Margot Rajmer, after interviewing more than 300 people who had lived under the regime, described the Sigurimi as a monster with countless tentacles. Thousands of homes were secretly bugged, and a single careless remark could lead to interrogation, job loss, or even exile for an entire family. Today, Albania has chosen a very different way to confront the machinery of fear that once controlled the country. Bunkers built for war have been transformed into cafes, galleries, and museums. And the former secret surveillance center in Tirana is now the House of Leaves, the Museum of Secret Surveillance. The building still preserves many of the original listening devices, files, and tools once used by the Sigurimi to invade the private lives of ordinary citizens. In 2020, the House of Leaves received the Council of Europe Museum Prize. A country once covered with concrete bunkers and hidden listening devices has now turned those very instruments of repression into places that tell the story of its past. But is preserving them in museums the best way to confront a dark chapter of history? Or should these reminders have been removed entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 3. Bernicia, the women who live as men. In the remote mountains of northern Albania, there once existed a custom that astonished the world: women who swore off marriage and went on to live as men. They were known as Bernicia, or sworn virgins. Before a council of village elders, a woman would vow to remain celibate for the rest of her life. From that moment on, she would cut her hair short, wear men's clothing, work, smoke, and even carry weapons as a man would. Records of this tradition date back to around the 15th century, but most women did not become Bernicia as an act of rebellion or self-expression. In many cases, it was a practical choice that allowed the family to survive. In mountain regions shaped by warfare and blood feuds that could continue for generations, a household might lose all of its adult men, with no male heir, representative, or primary provider left. A daughter could step into that role and become the man of the family. In the traditional society of the time, this was also one of the only ways a woman could gain the freedom to travel independently, own property, carry weapons, and lead an entire household without depending on a husband. Number 2. From banning faith to a model of harmony. Out of all that history, Albania created something that even the Pope described as a lesson for the world. In September 2014, Pope Francis chose Albania as the first European country he would visit after becoming Pope. The choice carried powerful symbolism. Pope Francis came to witness what had risen from the ashes of decades of religious persecution. He praised the way Muslims, Catholics, Orthodox Christians, and members of the Bektashi community lived side by side in Albania, calling their coexistence an inspiring example for the world. According to Albania's 2011 census cited in the material, around 57% of the population identified as Muslim, nearly 10% as Catholic, about 7% as Orthodox Christian, while another portion belonged to the Bektashi order. That religious diversity is perhaps most visible in the capital, Tirana. Here, a grand cathedral, one of the largest mosques in the Balkans, and the world headquarters of the Bektashi order all share the same skyline, but the sense of coexistence here goes far beyond architecture. And then Albania took that idea to a level few could have expected. In September 2024, Albania's Prime Minister announced plans to establish a sovereign entity for the Bektashi order within Tirana itself. If created, the microstate would cover about 27 acres, roughly 1/4 the size of Vatican City, potentially making it the smallest country in the world. After 45 years, under a regime that once tried to erase religion entirely, many Albanians seem to have learned that faith can remain an important part of personal identity without necessarily becoming a wall that divides people. Number 1. The best dish in the world that nobody knows. Albania may still be a country that many people would struggle to point out on a map, yet it is also home to a dish that once topped a global ranking of traditional foods. According to a Taste Atlas ranking published in 2022, the number 1 spot did not go to Italian pizza, French cuisine, or Japanese sushi. The dish that took the top position was tave kosi, one of Albania's best-known specialties. Tave kosi is made with tender lamb covered in a mixture of yogurt, eggs, and seasonings, then baked until the top turns golden brown. The mild creaminess of the yogurt blends with the rich flavor of the lamb, creating a dish that is both simple and distinctive. But tave kosi is only the beginning. On the streets of Albania, one of the foods you will see most often is bajrak. Paper-thin layers of pastry are stacked around fillings such as cheese, spinach, onions, potatoes, or meat. Bajrak is baked until the crust turns golden and crisp, then sold hot from bakeries and small street stalls for around €1. With the first bite, the flaky pastry shatters, revealing a warm, soft filling with a rich, buttery aroma. Albanian cuisine is not only affordable and approachable, its roots stretch back thousands of years. Grape seeds, dating back 4,000 to 6,000 years, have been discovered in Albania, suggesting that this region is home to one of Europe's oldest traditions of grape cultivation. The vineyards around Berat are believed to have produced wine since the time of the ancient Illyrian communities. If Albania is the kind of country you had barely heard about, but find harder to look away from, the more you discover. Subscribe to the channel. There are still many small corners of the world hiding stories powerful enough to surprise us all.